This episode was originally scheduled to release last week, but was delayed. It was recorded before then, so I know some of this might feel a bit late. Thankfully, it has since rained in LA, and we're so thankful for that. But those affected by the fires still need support and help as they recover. Let's continue to keep them in our thoughts and prayers and offer any help we can. Welcome back to another episode of I Pick Passion. It's your girl, Erica Bates, in the building. You already know. Okay. I hope you guys are doing well out there. I hope everybody is healthy and happy and finding joy in all of these testing times. Speaking of testing times, I hope you guys have sent your prayers. I have sent prayers and I still continue to send prayers for those affected and recovering from the destruction in LA. You guys, it's heavy. It's very, very, very heavy. And I know it's a huge emotional impact on the residents and those who love the city, including myself. So this episode I am dedicating to LA. It's my love letter to LA. It's wow, you guys. At the time that you're watching this, and I hope if you're let me get this out of the way. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and like and share with your friends and comment all the things. We appreciate all the engagement over here. It's a good time. So I hope that you're here to stay if you're new here. And if you've already been here, I thank you. Welcome back. I thank you for being here and being a part of this ever-growing community that we're putting together over here. But this is my love letter to LA. And if you are not new here, or even if you are new-ish here, you would have known last week, as I'm recording this right now, I would have just a week ago today, I was actually on my way back, just leaving LA. When I tell y'all, it was a crazy time to go to LA and to visit LA. I mean, when I tell y'all, it was insane. I was there from the Tuesday that the fires started. And I left, like I said, a week ago today. So, y'all, I mean, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin. And there's a vlog. The episodes will be dropping, so that you all can actually see the trip, see the things that we were able to do, because we did try to make the best of the trip. Even while it was chaotic around us. We still tried to find the joy, right? There we go. We still tried to find the joy in the midst of the chaos, and we still tried to find some great things to do. And I hope that you guys enjoy the vlogs. You should be seeing the first episode. You should be seeing the first episode of the vlog simultaneously with this episode of the pod. I felt like I would be remiss if I did not do a episode specifically talking about LA, my love for LA. Of course, my story, or what actually, from my POV, what happened, the chain of events as things kind of unfolded while I was there. So I kind of felt like I would be remiss if I did not do an episode dedicated to Los Angeles. So here we are. So yeah, it was a huge emotional impact, and I know it still is for those affected. It is for me. I'm grieving for everyone. When I say grieving, I mean I feel the effects. Although I don't live in the city yet, although I don't live there at this time, it does not mean that I didn't feel, or I feel it any less. I have a love for Los Angeles that runs deep. Okay, always have, always felt a connection to LA. Always, there's always been the people there. It's just, I just have this. It's all the things. It's all the things that I am, and It's a part of me. Although, it was my first time visiting last week. And it's like, what a crazy time to be visiting. God, what are you saying? I don't know. I can guess. I can imagine. I feel like I know what God is saying, and the reason why. I'm like, maybe God wanted me to see, and I'm not saying that this happened for me, right? But for God to teach me or to show me anything. That's not what I'm saying. So I don't want this to be um mistaken. But the fact that I was actually there and I booked my trip I booked this back in, was it October, November? I think it might have been sometime in November I booked this trip, and I booked it for January 7th. Okay. January 7th was my day to fly into LA and be there until Saturday. That trip, my days never changed. So knowing what I didn't know at the time, nobody knew that this would happen months ago. So I just feel like the timing couldn't be more like, what? The timing was crazy. Like, God, what are you doing? What are you saying? Why? What is it that you want me to know? And the only thing that I could think is that he wanted me to know just how bad it can get. And I have to say, y'all, I saw that. I saw it firsthand. And so again, my purpose of this episode is basically just a heartfelt reflection on the fires, the city's resilience, and its unique spirit. When I tell y'all, okay, let me go back. We're gonna get to all of that. Okay. First thing I want to address is the rumor about the Hollywood sign burning. I want to say that now because when you see the vlog, I don't know if it won't be in this episode, the first episode, I don't believe. I don't even know if it'll be in the second episode because I'm not sure how I'm going to break the vlog down, but I know it will be broken down into parts. So I don't know exactly where it's going to fall, but you will see within the vlog, actually in real time, the fact that I mentioned, how I mentioned that the Hollywood sign, and it's not funny, but it's not funny, but it was a rumor going around. And I found out after the fact, after I put this and said this in the blog, I found out that the Hollywood sign, in fact, did not burn. Thank God, right? Because that Hollywood sign has been there. It is a staple. Everyone knows the Hollywood sign, okay? And that's been there for years and years and years and years. And it would be devastating to the city and even those outside of the city that the Hollywood sign actually burned. So something about it, and I'll say I saw a picture. And it's the part that's funny is on me, right? Because I looked at comedian Marlon Wayans, shout out to you. I looked at his Instagram. He had posted, some of you might have seen, if you follow him, you might have seen it. He posted a picture of the Hollywood sign burning. His caption was, of course, a heartfelt message about, what God is doing and all the things he said. And he stated in the caption that he didn't know if this was real or fake. So me not reading the caption, I just looked at the picture and was like, oh my God. And I knew that there was I think the night before, I think there was it was stated that Runyon Canyon or up on the hills up that way, there were there was a fire out that direction. So me knowing that there had been a fire in that area up in the Hollywood Hills and knowing that was a possibility, I hoped and prayed not, but knowing that it could have been a possibility, I saw the picture and I instantly was like, oh my gosh. And I remember showing the picture the Hollywood sign caught on fire, and I said it in the vlog. So I want to say that to say I don't plan to edit that out. Okay. Because I want to kind of show the chain of events in real time. But I did address it later in the vlog, just as I am now. But as you're listening, hopefully you're listening or you're watching this, you will know that, okay, you can put the pieces together and say, okay, well, she obviously misspoke at a part in the vlog. Yes, I did. I misspoke, you guys. I should have read his caption without first, and then I would have been able to look it up and say, oh, okay, the Hollywood sign's fine. Because I went and actually, we found the Hollywood sign. I have pictures and some videos out, which of course will be inputted of course will be in the vlog. you will see the Hollywood sign is fine. It's safe, you guys. It's safe. So thankfully, I just wanted to address that there was a rumor going around, a fake picture of the Hollywood sign on fire, which is not cool at all. I don't know where the rumor came from, where it started, how it started. I don't know. I don't even care. But I just wanted to address that on my part, that I should have read the caption first, and then I would have been able to do my research beforehand before I misspoke. I have to say, you guys, it was very chaotic and emotional to process everything in real time. It was, you have no idea, like, unless you were there to know how these chain of events were happening, and to know that you're here in this city that you love, that you have a love for, but you're like, this is not the city that I thought I was coming to. Okay. So yeah, it was very emotional to see and to know that people were living this in real time while I am here. There are people that have lost homes. There are people that have had to evacuate. There are people that are worried about their homes, if they're coming back to their homes. Emotions were high, but I have to say, still, everybody kept it together. Like, people, it wasn't like a state of panic, as in my mind, I'm like, it's crazy. People were still just existing, more or less, but not a state of panic. People were still, it wasn't like, I don't know, like when you think of the world coming to an end, right? And you think of, we're in the last days, and you think of, people talk about this zombie apocalypse and all this stuff. When you think of things just with the climate change, and you think of the way things are in this current state of our country, and we just think of everything, like, when you think of that, you're like, right, state of panic, right? And I have to say, this is something that these people have never lived in Los Angeles to this capacity, right? And the fact that these people were able to just hold it together and just still, I'm like, man, kudos to every single person out there. Like, shout out to you all. As a city, as a community, it was very impactful, and it was very that's not the word I want to say. It was very inspiring to see. Yeah, I guess that would be the word. So let me actually share with you guys, before I get into the chaos experience and the wildfires and all of that, which firsthand I want to speak and just talk about, before I get into all the things, allegations, all the things of everything that's been speculated and all of that, because I will talk about that. But I want to talk about my trip, right? Which you, again, will see in the vlog. But on the vlogs, okay, with an S, you will see it. But I want to just talk about my experience, from the time we got there on Tuesday, which you will also see this, and everything I'm talking about, you'll see in the vlog. I just feel like I want to talk about it because I didn't talk about it. I didn't have a discussion about Los Angeles and everything that's happened and my POV and everything. Like, you were getting the vlog, which you were kind of seeing, but you didn't hear all the actual background, right? So I want to kind of give you a little bit behind the scenes from my POV. I hope that makes sense. So when we got there on that Tuesday, and we landed again. We saw the fires. As we were landing and descending, it was crazy how we were in the sky, and the clouds were beautiful, right? As we started our descent, the air got dark, like to the point where we were like real smoggy. Okay. So it was like clear air, clean, everything was great. And then next thing you know, you're like, what is happening below? You can see the fire from below on the ground as we're in the sky. You can see the fire. Crazy. We're like, what is happening? Okay. Get to the airport, still never thinking anything of it because it's California, it's LA. They have wildfires. However, they don't usually have wildfires this time of the year. Usually the wildfires take place in maybe, August, September, October, somewhere around that time of the year. They don't usually get wildfires at this point. However, I know California is dry. Okay. Have not had probably a good rain since last year. I know they got a lot of rain last year. I remember like it seemed like they were getting rain every day, more rain than we got on the East Coast. Okay. They were getting hit with rain. And at this point, they need that rain. And usually by now, it might have, I don't know if by now they usually would have gotten rain and maybe, during there, because this is like their winter, obviously, as well, which is not it's a mild winter, but I don't know, by now they would have or should have gotten rain at some point, which hopefully would have helped with this situation. So at this point, again, they don't usually get wildfires this time of year. They don't, that doesn't usually happen this time of year. However, we were like, okay, I didn't think anything of it. So we get to the airport. My dad, which I didn't even see, but my dad happened to see that there were fire trucks outside of the airport. So I guess they were on standby for whatever was going to happen or could happen. God forbid, that would have or could have happened. They were on standby. I didn't see them, but my dad did. So, or didn't pay any attention to them either way, because we were just so busy trying to figure out what we were doing, trying to get to the rental car place to pick up the rental car. We got there and so went to the rental car place and went to go pick up the rental car. Everything was fine. Very polite, very nice people. Everybody we came across, I must say, were nice. Like my mom and dad even made comments at one point. They were like, everybody here is so nice. Like people were helpful, very just like, we didn't run across anyone that was like an asshole. We didn't run across any assholes. Everybody was helpful. Everybody was nice, polite, very, would talk to you, willing to talk. Both of the guys at the rental car place, very talkative, very, just making conversation with me. And it was really, really nice. So anyway, so that's to say we got the rental car. We went about our way. I don't remember if it was that night, we saw it on the news that like, oh, this is what's happening. And we were like, oh, as a matter of fact, I think we did, because we turned on the news because we kind of wanted to see what was going on around us. Because my dad, I guess, had his spidey senses up because the fire trucks, one, seeing the fire and when we came in, but then also seeing the fire trucks at the airport was kind of alarming. Like, what's happening? Is everything okay? Are we good? So we're staying in Downey, California, which is southeast to LA. So we thankfully were not in the midst of any of the fire. Also, God knew what he was doing, because when I planned this trip and I was looking for a hotel, I booked the flights and all that first, and the rental car first. The hotel was the last thing that I actually booked. So I had no idea. I had looked at hotel after hotel in different areas and landed on this hotel, which felt right. Everything lined up. Everything was like, okay, this is the one. Didn't know what God knew, which that this was going to be happening at the time of the trip. So we were thankfully safe from any evacuations. We didn't have to worry about that. Our area was not affected. The most that we could smell it. Like I remember one morning, I think we came outside and it was definitely, or one evening, I think we got back and it was like, ooh, the air quality is strong. Like you can smell it. And that morning we couldn't, but we came back later that day and we could smell it in the air. And then we started to I think I had ran across something on Instagram that kind of said, hey, as people, of course, my whole social media feed was nothing but about the fires. And everybody that of course I follow that live in Los Angeles, everybody was posting about it as I'm living it. We're all living it in real time, which is crazy. So I was getting posts from, talking about wearing masks, and they're recommending to wear a mask if you're going to be outside even, because the air quality is so bad. And of course, I'm looking at the weather app and I can see as they're talking about, the air and all of that as well. To see that, I was like, huh. And then we talked to my mom, talked to my uncle, which my uncle has done. He used to work in a lab in Colorado where he actually would test a lot of those chemicals and asbestos and things like that. And he was saying how the long-term effects can be. Short-term, your body usually can fight it off and your body would be fine on a short-term basis most of the time. But it's still not something that you want to make a habit of, taking that in and not knowing how your body may, be affected by it. Typically, those that may have respiratory issues and things like that, obviously would be the ones that would be more affected. But you still don't want to put your body through that, right? You want to try to be as safe as possible. So we did mask up outside once we saw that. But a day or so before, we weren't masking up, and the fires had already I said Tuesday, I don't think we masked up. Maybe not even that Wednesday. I don't remember if we started masking up maybe later that Wednesday or that Thursday or for the rest of the trip. I don't remember when we started masking, but I do remember that we weren't to begin with. We were not. So, initially I was like, oh man, I hope, and pray we will be fine with what we've already breathed in of the possibility of, because I think even that night when we could smell the smoke, I don't think we had on a mask that day. And so you just never know those particles. My uncle was saying there are things they're particles that you may not even be able to see. So, you think, oh, you're fine. You don't even smell it, but those particles are coming down from, and flying because number one, the winds. And that's where where these fires kind of like started, or where how the fires spiraled out of control is because of the winds. So when we got there that day and that night, I remember that next day they were talking about the winds, and I believe they're still affected by the winds even now, or them kicking back up because it'll be settled, and then next thing you know, the winds are supposed to be coming back around again. So, you guys, it was. So I say all that to say it was crazy. Okay, absolutely crazy. And it's not even. I have to laugh at it because it's like I don't mean it that it's funny because it's not, and I want to state that, please. Nothing that if you hear me laugh, if you see me laugh, it's not that I'm laughing at the situation. I'm just in amazement and in awe of the fact that we were there. That's the part that I'm like, what? I'm not laughing at what happened or from those that had anything that were affected by any of this or anything, though. That's not at all what I'm doing. So I just want to make that perfectly clear so we're on the same page. Okay. So we got there that day. I'm jumping around, you guys, because I'm trying to remember all of this in real time, or just the points that I want to point out. Because obviously I can't give my whole trip verbatim. You'll see what you see in the vlog, right? But I want to be able to point out a couple of particular things that I want you guys to know the severity and how crazy this time was in LA. It was very, of course, we traveled to other areas. We did not just stay in Downey. A couple of days and moments and times, like during a certain periods and times, we would just kind of hang out because there really wasn't much else to do. A lot of things had started to close in the city. Like we weren't able to do a lot of the things that we set out to do. We were supposed to go hiking that Friday with a group of people. And when I tell you the hike was canceled, and rightfully so, because of the air quality being so bad. So not really wanting to do a hike outside, and the air is horrible. So I completely understood. It sucked because we were like, oh, this is horrible that this is what we have to, that we came here at this time, but there'll always be future times. So anyway, or at least we pray that there will be future time. Yeah, y'all, it was crazy. Okay, I'm jumping around. I'm literally going to be jumping around. Forgive me. Because the days and these moments they're scrambled. They're not in any order at all. We went to Santa Monica Beach, and the skate beach, which was pretty cool. Beautiful. However, we walked. It was nice. I got a great sighting of the water, and that's on the vlog, the water and all of that. But what was amazing to see is these planes fighting nature with nature. Okay. Because obviously this is a natural disaster, beyond natural disaster. And to see them fighting nature with nature was kind of like, wow, that is so, didn't even know that that's what they do. You'll see it on the vlog. They were actually going into the water. These planes they would circle around because the fires were right. We could see there was smoke right ahead of where the park was. It was completely dark. As we had kept walking, we'd have gotten closer and closer. Obviously, we were at the park. We had to walk with our masks on because the air quality, obviously, in that area, you definitely did not. And every now and again, you could see cinders, like little cinders falling in the sky, like little white, like specks. In certain areas, even more than others, you could see those falling. Every now and again, you might see one or so in other areas, like where our hotel was. But in certain areas, it was heavy. And if you're right over there, you can see the smoke and the smog in the air, then that you need to be masked up. Okay. And at that point, this was on Thursday or Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, we went to the Santa Monica Beach. It might have been Wednesday, Thursday. I don't remember, you guys. At this moment, as I am recording this, I apologize, but you will see everything as it was happening for real in the vlog. But right now, my brain is like, what? As I'm trying to recall all of these events in order. So yeah, it was crazy as we saw the plane circle around to put out this fire. We were like, matter of fact, I saw it. I was like, you guys, it's a fire over there. I said, I see smoke. No. That was another moment. I'll get to that in a minute. Because I didn't see that. Actually, we could see it as we were driving, because obviously it was big, and the air was dark and smoggy, and it was crazy. And to think, like, right over there, we're like, man, like, it was, because the sighting, the sights would have been beautiful to see, right? It's literally the beach, everything, the beachfront, all of that would have been, it was so beautiful for what it was, but it would have been even more beautiful had we been able to really, had it not been the situation at hand. But it was amazing to see, like I said, I keep saying, these planes circle around, dip into the water, because even the planes that put out, that dropped the water, they went into the water, blow water into the plane, then go back over towards the fire and drop the water on the fire. It was something to see. I was like, wow, I didn't know that that's how they would do it, or what they. It was just cool to see that that's how they do this. Or in this matter, this is how they handle it. It's kind of cool, you guys, I have to say. Okay, let me really stop, think for a second. So the beach happened. We made the best of what we could on the beach. And then we went to that dinner plans, my mom's birthday. Part of the reason for this trip was my mom's birthday was on Thursday, the 9th. And we were supposed to have a dinner at the Los Angeles Nobu. That was canceled. They called me. Matter of fact, on that day, they called me that morning around like 10 something, maybe close to 11 o'clock. And I had my phone on Do Not Disturb because I was using my phone to GPS, because we were going to Inglewood, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. And you talking about cinders? So the cinders were falling in Inglewood, where we were at that Roscoe's. We walked outside, the whole car, the hood of the car was completely covered in white cinders. You could see them in the air, like literally they were falling like snow. At least where we were, they were falling heavy. Okay. So, but I get a phone call from the Nobu, and they're like, hey, because of the air quality, yeah, we're gonna cancel for today. We're gonna close. We're not opening today, but we will reopen on tomorrow. As of right now, we plan to reopen on tomorrow, which will be Friday. And if we still wanted to reschedule, we absolutely wanted to experience it, and I wanted my mom to have that for her birthday, even though it was the day after. But still wanted to celebrate. So we did. That was amazing. You guys will see that in the vlog. Nothing to say about that. It was everything. It was the experience. It was one to remember. And I'm so thankful for that experience, and for my mom and my dad both enjoyed it. So that put a smile on my face and in my heart, warmed my heart, that they actually enjoyed it. So all that to say, I'm just trying to think of all the other events that we actually were like, oh my gosh, those are the events I want to kind of share. So at one point we see a fire on the highway as we're driving, and I forget what we were on. If we were on the 101, 110, I don't remember where we were, because we went so many different routes trying to go different areas. Majority of our time we spent in the car, just driving, seeing sights, the things we could do, we did do. We did see the Hollywood Walk of Fame. We were able to kind of do the Hollywood Walk and see that. We got out, we walked, we did have our mask on down there because the air quality down there was not good. So yeah, I took my mask off maybe at a point to take a picture or something like that. Because you will see that. I did take a picture. We did take pictures. So for that moment, we took it off, but the rest of the walking was with my mask on for sure. And we didn't even walk the whole. We walked, but because we had parking, the meter, the meter was about to run out. So we was like, you know what? Like, we got to get back to the car. So we didn't get to do all of the walk because it's long. It looked very long. Um, so we got what we could get, but we didn't get to walk the whole thing. Um, but one of those days, and I want to say that was on Thursday, actually. I want to say it was Thursday. I don't think it was Friday, the day we went to Nobu. I think it was actually on Thursday, because one of those days we did the museums. Or was it the day we did the museum, which was on Friday morning? We tried to do the museums, but they were all closed on Friday. And that might have been the day that we saw the fire off on the highway. Well, I saw the smoke as we were driving, and I was like, hey, y'all, it's smoke up here. I was like, I don't know, but I see smoke. Sure enough, we see smoke off on the side of the highway, like literally, like it looked like somebody started the fire, honestly, because it was like, how, I know embers can fly, I know the winds, but it really won't even windy at that point. And I was like, where are these embers? I know they be flying, but for just to catch fire right here on the side of the highway, like, what are the chances? It was crazy to see, though, like two like bushes off to the side of the highway were caught on fire, and it was like, what is happening? And of course, we see the fire trucks and stuff up at the top, and everybody on the highway, we're all driving like at a pace where we're all like, what? Like, you could tell everybody was like, what? Y'all, I'm laughing again. I will keep saying this. I'm snickering and laughing at the fact that this was crazy. It's like, not at all what was happening, but the fact that this was crazy to be living this. I will live with this, honestly, for the rest of my life. Like, I will always remember the very first time I went to Los Angeles, all of this was going on. Obviously, people had evacuated, so the city wasn't even, it was some traffic here and there, but you're talking about, like, nothing, the way I hear about the traffic in LA, I didn't experience that at all. So, and it had to be because people had already evacuated, and the city wasn't what the city usually would be. And so that's what I'm putting it on. It has to be because of that. Because I was like, if y'all talking about traffic, this is not traffic, like I deal with this traffic at home, like this was like moderate, very moderate. So you guys, it was definitely, and everybody talking about it, people were talking about it, and everybody, of course, is experiencing this again in real time. So it was like, what is happening, and this is the craziest that it's never been this way, people that actually born and raised and have lived there, saying these things. And so, then, I think it was Friday, we get a random message, or Thursday, I don't remember what day it was, but I had screenshotted it, and I'm probably going to put that in the vlog as well. We get a notification on our phone, which first time, like, you get an Amber Alert, we got a fire warning, like, alert. And we were like, talking about there's been a warning issued in your area about evacuating. And it was like, okay, they didn't say it was like a warning. So I was like, okay, well, what does this mean? I'm like, okay, I don't smell smoke. I don't see anything. Our area seems to be fine. Everybody's living life as usual. We went inside the hotel and was like, hey, he was like, yeah, I'm surprised they sent it out this late. I guess they just wanted everybody all over to know what's happening. In case somebody's been living under a rock and doesn't know by now, because it's all over the news, all over socials. It's the biggest thing talked about. So in case somebody been under a rock, I guess they wanted people to know. And then we get a text message, like, or another notification, not a text, a couple, maybe 10, 15 minutes later, that said disregard, and talking about the Kenneth fire, which I was like, it was just that it was intended for the Kenneth fire or something like that. So to disregard it. So I'm guessing that it wasn't affected. Obviously, it was like, it's not in our area, thankfully, because we were like, what? Like, what? The fear in that moment was like, this is not real. Like, we have to evacuate, huh? What? We have at least another day or so at this point we're like, evacuate, where will we go? So in my mind, I'm just like, okay. So I'm thinking all of this as I'm getting this, I see this alert. My family, we were together, and we're like, y'all was crazy. To feel the fear that these people, because in that moment, for that short moment, I had the same fear that we might have to evacuate, that all these other people had lived. I felt that also. And to not, it was just like, huh? We're like, will we go to another hotel, another area? But all the areas seemed like, where would we go right now? Or will we just book a flight, change our flights, and go back home? Like all of those things were going through my head. So it was crazy, y'all. Absolutely insane. I think those are all the moments that I really wanted to hit on, like from the time we saw the fire and it started, things being closed, seeing the fire on the side of the highway, the alert that we received, the warning. I think that was everything I wanted to share, and everything else, of course, you will see in the vlog. I keep saying that. So my thoughts were, and I'm just gonna speak, like experiencing the wildfires again was crazy. It was chaotic. But the range of fires, from those spanning far apart to a random one by the highway. Now, again, my first time being in LA, but I know enough about LA because I've done my share of research, and a lot of people that I follow, people that I have associated with, and all of the things, have lived there, or so I know a little bit based on what I hear, how I listen and pay attention in my own research. So I know enough to know, like, where are these fires coming from? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Okay. The distance from the Palisades, which was the very first one. And first of all, okay, let me just get into it. All right. Palisades fire. And then we have the Eaton fire. Those were the two biggest. Okay. I believe. Don't let me misquote or misspoke. Don't let me misspeak on that. But I believe those were the two biggest. I know Palisades for sure, and I know the Eaton fire was huge, which was also Altadena, which my understanding, which we all seem, a lot of people that even live there have or that live there but may not have been born and raised there. But people now are learning that Altadena, which was affected by the Eaton fire, Altadena is a historically Black area, which that for me was like that was amazing to know, but sad. Very, very, it was amazing to know the history, but it was sad to know that now this area has been taken out. And shout out to DZ and his girlfriend and his child. And I say DZ is specifically because I don't know anyone else personally that was affected in Altadena. But I know because the people that I follow, a lot of them know DZ. Oh, and DZ being all deaf. Yeah, it was, he's from All Deaf Digital. But I know he does a lot of work with, again, a lot of people that I follow. So, it was sad to know that his family was affected and that they lost their home and their car. I think they evacuated in one car, but they lost their car and their home. And so there's a GoFundMe currently. They might have already reached their goal because I think they were not far. I've been kind of checking it. But they weren't far from reaching their goal. So, yeah, I pray that they do. I pray that they exceeded, even. Yeah, I pray that they're able to to get back on their feet, because that's sad. And to have a young child and to be, it's just sad. So shout out to you, DZ, and your family. And I pray that you guys will come back from this like never before. I pray that it will be like, I pray that you're able to bounce back and that you meet the goal and that everything will turn around for you guys. So I definitely want to say that. But the fact that these fires, again, that was my original point, were so far apart, I'm like, now, you know what? Okay, we're going to leave that right there where it is right now. I do want to acknowledge that the Hearst fire has been, my last understanding is the Hearst fire has been 100% contained, bringing a bit of a sense of relief amidst the devastation. So I do want to state that last I saw and read that it has been 100% contained, as they're still trying to contain or get the containment up in the other areas. So my understanding, I have not checked statistics since I saw that. I'm just getting alerts on social as things come up, but I have not checked to see what the other areas are looking like. I pray that they're good and they're contained, or even more contained than what they were. I'm praying at this point that the devastation has ended, because enough is enough. Okay. So I want to talk about the unsettling potential causes of these fires. So that was why I was like, Allegations have been, because I looked it up and I've heard that potentially there could have been some arsonists starting some of the fires. Honestly, I would not be surprised, in the sense that, again, I spoke about the distance, like from all over here, all the way over here. Like nobody, you telling me that this was, it seems like somebody is behind this. And I'm just going to say that. Somebody or people or something is more than just natural disaster. Like the natural disaster part of it, once a fire was started, it took, embers, it just keeps the wind and everything just kind of snowballs. I get that once it started. But what's starting it? That's the question. Okay. So that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to speculate on anything and I don't want to go any further on that. But it's just kind of coincidental how these might have been coordinated or how random these incidents are. Like, it's just, let's leave that there. Okay. Other alleged causes, from what I've heard, is that the Palisades fire was sparked by a backyard fire or fireworks somehow during the New Year's. And I'm thinking, well, that fire had been burning for a while. Because it started okay. So that was New Day was on the 1st. New Year's Eve was the 31st. And now the fires started on the 7th. Or things got chaotic on the 7th. All right. So I'm just saying, how, what? Like, I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't know. But that was what I've heard about the Palisades fire, and the Eaton fire is supposedly caused by power lines. Now, again, coincidences, right? Just so happened that the Palisades fire, right, started from a backyard fire on the New Year's, or from New Year's, and the Eaton fire, all at basically almost at the same time, happens to get sparked by power lines. Just all this happens to happen at the same time. Okay. So, obviously having to investigate these type of things and all of that has to be a lot. And it just kind of adds to, whether accidental or unintentional or whatever, it just kind of adds to the complexity of the entire situation. And I just want to shout out for a minute before, because I cannot forget and will not forget, but let me say it now while I'm stopped in my tracks. Shout out to the firefighters and those on the front line that are doing their best and sacrificing. Yeah. Shout out to those on the front lines that are sacrificing everything right now for the time that they're putting into these fires, and to, being selfless to put themselves out there to make sure that these fires are as contained as they can at this point. Like, shout out to you guys, the firefighters, those that are putting themselves out there on the front line, that are fighting these firsthand. Shout out to you. I will keep saying that and keep saying that and keep saying that. Shout out to all of you. So I empathize in a way where I'm like, man, and then just to know the things that they have to deal with. I watch, personally, I'm a fan of all the Fire Country and all the shows that, even though it's television, I know it's fiction, but all the shows that I have a special love for those shows. And I always wish that I was brave enough or courageous enough to put myself, and that was something in me that I would want to do and live. But to live that's another level. So I shout out to every single firefighter, every single person on the front line right now. Shout out to you. So I do want to also say, I want to address the misconception also that celebrities will recover easily because of their wealth. Like, I've been hearing people say that, and that's just heartless, first of all, to say. Those of you on social media that are just clicking your little fingers away, and you have nothing else, nothing nice to say. I'm so sorry for you. Like, I feel sorry for you, because it's not cool to, one, assume that someone's situation, just by what you think you see, is really what it is in reality. Like, you might think, oh, well, they got money, they're fine. Don't assume someone's financial situation just by what you see, because sometimes it's not always what it looks like. They show you what they want you to see. Okay. Furthermore, not everyone in California is rich. Not everyone in Los Angeles is rich. In fact, there are probably more regular people than there are celebrities. Regular people, and I put that in quotations. Yeah. So stop assuming. And either way, even if they could replace their home, right? Or buy another house, there's some things in that home that they won't be able to replace, y'all. There's some things in that home that are irreplaceable. Their memories, their pictures, things they could have lost, something that their mom that could have left them or anything. You don't know. So don't assume. And that's something that they cannot replace. Okay. So let's just be clear. And not only that, those homes cost out there. Okay. I've done the research. That's how I know. They cost. That's not always easy to say, oh, well, I'm just going to go back out here and I'm going, I'm going to go get me another house and all is going to be well. And then furthermore, the insurance companies for quite some time, apparently now, or about a month ago, I'm not going to say quite some time, but over about a month ago before all of this happened, insurance companies pulling out of California, apparently. They've been pulling out, making rebuilding difficult, even for those with resources. So you might think that, and that's also something that I find very coincidental too, the timing of all of that, but neither here nor there. So it might not be as easy as you think. So don't assume someone's financial situation by what you see. Okay. And again, there's so many more regular people. All LA residents, again, I stress, are not wealthy and are experiencing profound losses with limited means to recover. So you can't always, don't stop thinking that to me, that is I'm going to be nice. That is a wrong way of thinking, to think that everyone in LA has money or everyone there, oh, they rich, because that's what you see on the TV, on social. You see certain celebrities speaking out and things like that. So you assume that, oh, well, that's the majority or that's who lost their homes. No, not even, y'all, not even. So please stop. I'll just say, please stop. Be nice. Pray for people. Be nice. Treat people the way you would want to be treated. You wouldn't want somebody assuming or speculating or talking about you in that way. If, God forbid, if it was you that lost your home and you're dealing with that already, but then you have people talking about you and assuming that you wouldn't want that. Treat people the way you want to be treated, y'all. Be nice to people. Care about people. Love people enough to, if you don't have nothing nice to say, just don't say nothing at all. How about that? Okay. All right. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. I'm going to leave that subject right on alone. So again, I just want to talk about the strength of the community and coming together in a crisis. Like, people talk about LA, but what I'm going to say about LA right now, LA is stepping up and they're stepping up together. They're helping each other. They're coming as one. And so people, it doesn't seem as like, oh, well, they just in LA. No, well, these people have the ain't there right now because they are showing up for each other and they are doing what needs to be done and they're coming together as a community. And I love to see it. Okay. So the resilience and the unity, I'm loving it. So, as far as neighbors and first responders and organizations stepping up to help, it's there, it's prevalent. And I'm so happy to see that. And so these moments, of course, knowing this just kind of further affirmed my love for LA and its people. So thank you guys for being an example of how amazing and resilient LA is. So and I want to talk about the man that I saw. I actually met someone, because a lot of people, I believe, that had been affected or had to evacuate were actually migrating to the area where we were in Downey. And specifically, we saw some people from the hotel checking into our hotel. And we happened to, one morning, I want to say it was Friday morning, we ran into this man, and you can see the stress all over this man's face. When I tell y'all, it was so sad to know that this was his experience. He happened to ask us if we were from LA, and we said no. We told him we were visiting. And he told us that he was one of the ones, him and his family, they had to evacuate. And we were on an elevator having this conversation. And like I said before, I could tell the stress on his face. Like, he looked stressed. And so I was shocked that he even, but we kind of spoke to him and acknowledged him. So I guess he just kind of said, hey, you guys from LA. Very nice man. Even in the midst of his pain, he was very nice. And it was just crazy hearing from someone like living this. Like, this is his life. He lives here. And he was like, he used to live in DC. And and talking about how, he's been here however long. I forgot he was not here, but in LA for however long, I forgot. But he was saying that, he, his family, they had to evacuate. He says, crazy to think that Saturday prior, he said, so far his home was good. He said his home had not been, but they, of course, had to evacuate just in case. He said, and he said the Saturday before, he said, it's crazy to think one of the restaurants that they were just in the restaurant, just went to this restaurant, it was burnt down. He said just the Saturday prior, everything was fine. Life as usual. Life was normal as going on about their business, business as usual, I should say. And they went to this restaurant, and now the restaurant's gone. So just to think that those type of, like, in real time for something like that, it's like, how? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just there, and now it has to be crazy. And that him and his family were safe. And of course, they came there and, until they were able to go back to their home. But I just pray that their home is still fine from that last conversation that we had. I pray that their home is still fine. And I pray for him and his family. Yeah, shout out to you. I don't remember. I never caught the man's name. Don't know his name, but I hopefully if he by any chance, which the chances of him listening to this podcast is probably, but if he happened to, he would know who he is. So shout out to you. So again, we tried to find the joy, and meaningful moments of hope or gratitude during the trip. We tried to find the joy. You have to sometimes seek the joy, even in the midst of chaos. That is an everyday, okay? Because life can be hard. And matters like that show you when you, like, it's always somebody that has it worse than you, okay? And moments like that, it should make you feel more compassion for people. It should make you feel more grateful and thankful for life. Because let's not take it for granted. There are several people that have lost their lives, not just their home, but their lives. People have lost their loved ones. So it's serious, you guys. But again, as crazy as the times were out there, the people that we ran into were so kind. And just, like, no matter what they were dealing with, nobody was egotistical. Nobody was me. Even that man, he dealing with what he was dealing with, and I could see the stress on his face, like he really hadn't even slept. That man was still nice. And you can see he was still thankful, right? So it was definitely an enduring vibrancy and a spirit in the city, even during tough times. And I can appreciate that. And it definitely teaches you to find light in darkness. Moments like that, experiencing that's what it's taught me, to be resilient and to find light in darkness, and that somebody always has it worse than you. Always remember that. So let me go ahead, close this up, wrap it up. I want to thank LA for its strength, for its beauty, and the lesson it continues to teach. I pray that this is a lesson for a lot of people out there. I offer hope for recovery and rebuilding. Pray for the recovery and rebuilding. I encourage you guys to support relief efforts, and I will include resources in the episode notes. So please check that out. Please support. Please help if you can. If you can. It just only if you can. If not, prayer is number one. Okay. But if you can at all, and I get it. I get it if you can't, but if you can, please support in any way that you can. I will say that. Yeah. All right, you guys. So this has been another episode of I Pick Passion. And thank you guys for being here today. And stay tuned for the next episode, y'all. The next one should be a treat. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, you guys, again, be blessed and stay passionate.